Welcome to the third election of American history. It occurred in 1796 from November 4th up to December 7th, and it was the first contested election between both parties. Incumbent George Washington retired, and he created one of his biggest accomplishments and established a precedent that all presidents should only serve 2 terms. This would last for over 150 years until 1940. The 2 main candidates were Vice President John Adams and former Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson. A lot happened during Washington's second term. Hamilton created the first national bank, but this was controversial. Democratic Republicans like Jefferson and Madison saw it as an overreach of federal power and claimed it was unconstitutional. As war in Europe raged on, Washington took the decision to proclaim neutrality in the battle between Britain and France. Also, diplomat Thomas Pinckney signed the Pinckney Treaty that defined the border between the US and Spanish Florida, after negotiating with Spaniard Manuel de Godoy, who was basically their prime minister. Lastly, Jay's Treaty helped build better relations with the British, but it also deeply divided the nation and pushed everyone into choosing one party. During the campaign, the Democratic Republicans framed the Federalists as being pro-British, elitist, and even as monarchists, while the Federalists framed the Democratic Republicans as being radical, pro-French, and even as violent revolutionaries. Also, don't forget until 1804, all electors casted 2 votes for 2 candidates. The person with the most votes became president, while second place became vice president. Here's the list of the important nominees from both parties. Vice President John Adams, Federalist from Massachusetts. Thomas Pinckney, Federalist from South Carolina, diplomat and minister in Europe. Charles Pinckney, brother of Thomas, Federalist from South Carolina and minister to France. Oliver Ellsworth, Federalist from Connecticut and also Chief Justice. John Jay, Federalist from New York, former Chief Justice and also governor of that state. James Iredell, Federalist from North Carolina and Supreme Court Justice. Samuel Johnston, Federalist from North Carolina too, also former senator. On the other hand, Thomas Jefferson, rising star from the Democratic Republicans, from Virginia and former Secretary of State. Aaron Burr, Democratic Republican from New York and senator from that state. Samuel Adams, Democratic Republican from Massachusetts, also governor from there. Lastly, George Clinton, Democratic Republican from New York and also former governor of that state. And the winner was John Adams won, becoming the second president in American history. John Adams narrowly won in a really close race with 71 electoral votes. In second place, Jefferson won with 68 electoral votes and became the second vice president in American history. This weird outcome, with the president and vice president being from opposite parties, resulted in the 12th Amendment. That made it so this would not happen in the future, since having your political enemy behind you was not a good idea. While in third place, Thomas Pinckney came close with 59 electoral votes, but lost. For fourth place, Aaron Burr got 30 votes, and the rest got 15 or lower. Interestingly, now retired, George Washington still got 2 electoral votes. In the Senate, the Federalists won, winning 21 out of the 32 seats. They won the majority comfortably, with 17 being the minimum. For the House, the Democratic Republicans won and kept control with 58 seats, 4 over the majority needed. And Jonathan Dayton kept his position of Speaker. Even though he was a Federalist with a Democratic Republican majority, he still kept his role. Adams took his oath of office on Saturday, March 4th, 1797, in the House of Representatives, Chamber of Congress Hall in Philadelphia, and thus the third election in American history came to an end. But sadly for Adams, he would have to make a lot of compromises with the Democratic Republicans and with his vice president, Thomas Jefferson. Like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next video.